Hello, everyone. So today we'll have an enormously interesting interview with the host of the Free English Reading Club, IT specialist, a great traveler, and electro dancer Mykhailo Seniutovych. We'll talk about his reading club, IT, travel, electro dance, and other exciting topics. Hey, Mikhailo, what's up? I haven't seen you for ages. What have you been up to?
Yeah, hi Mark. Indeed, haven't seen you for ages as well. Yeah, I'm working from home these days. Don't spend too much time outside. Most of the time, I just sit in front of my computer doing different things. Yeah.
I see, I see. So the first question for you for today is that I'm really tracking your activity, and it seems to me that you are a passionate host of the English Reading Club. So what motivates you, and why did you decide to be the host of such meetings?
Yeah, so I'll give you a little bit of a background about the reading club. So the project itself, it started in 2017. So there was one Peace Corps volunteer from the United States who lived and worked in our city. And he decided to make this reading club project. So the idea was that, you read some text or a short story, and then, you would meet together with people and discuss it. So it went pretty well. It was quite popular. But in 2018, his mission in Ukraine ended and he had to leave Ukraine. And I realized that, basically there are two options, right? Either he just goes and this project stops and never continues, or I take over and continue to host those meetings. So I decided, since I really enjoyed this place, I decided to take over, and here we now. Now about motivation. So what motivates me? Well, obviously, I like English and I like reading, and this place sort of connects two of those things. So it's kind of good for me. And obviously there is this element that you just do something good for others, and it also adds, some sense of pleasure, I think. So, yeah.
So what do you usually discuss at such meetings?
That guy who started the reading club, he himself was a philosopher, so he had a degree in philosophy. And the idea was from the very beginning that it would be a philosophy-oriented club. So usually we read, some texts or stories that have some meaning, like deepened meaning, and then we would discuss that meaning. So, for example, recently we talked about the meaning of life, right? Like, what's the meaning of life? How to find a purpose in life? This kind of things. Many times we read stuff like science fiction and futuristic stuff. So like, for example, what will happen to humanity in 100 years? Or, how does the technology change, human beings, and, this kind of things. So basically, we discuss sort of big questions that you don't often talk about, but everyone, understands that they are important and interesting. So these kind of things. And I guess one important thing to add is that you don't always have to read stuff at those reading clubs meetings. So very often we just, choose some topic and we just either read some short article and just discuss it. Or when we do read something longer, I still post some summaries, and you can just read a summary of the book and join and talk about it, because usually the questions that we discuss are kind of abstract, right? They deal with that reading that we talk about, but you don't necessarily have to read everything just in order to participate. Yeah.
How many people are well prepared? What is the percentage of people who really are ready for the
Yeah,
story?
that's a good question. I think the percentage of people who actually like are well prepared, do their reading and everything is maybe about 30%, 40%. So there are a lot of people who just come
Mhm.
to talk, and I think it's fine. You know, that's not a problem. So again, as long as you're at least as long as you're in context, when you know what we're talking about, you can participate. It's not a problem.
Mhm. Maybe for some other purposes, people attend this club. Yes, not only for reading, maybe to find a soulmate. Yeah, just
Well,
a joke, but in every joke that can be like part of truth. Mhm.
yeah, that's true. You know, funnily enough, I actually met my girlfriend there, so maybe it is true.
Ooh,
Yes.
you don't say so. Mhm. Cool. And you invited her, or just she came to that reading club?
She just came. She knew about this window on America, you know, things. So one time she just decided to come, and yeah.
So you met at that reading club.
Well, we met before at Window on America, but we didn't talk for a long time. And then one time she came again for the reading club, and then you know when our relationship started.
Whoa.
So I guess you know the reading club can help you know soulmates to find each other. That might be
Actually,
also true.
you made trouble for this interview because a lot of girls will stop watching it like
Oh,
this now. Yeah,
maybe you will you know support me. You will
but
be the guy, the star.
maybe I hope so. So, what benefits can a person take from such events? Can he become really resist, like intellectually developed after attending this club? Please give us 3 reasons why one should attend this club.
Okay, so I'll start from the most obvious one. So it's English. So the reading club is in English. So if you learn English, it's a good place to practice, you know, your English. And by practice, I don't mean, you know, we don't talk London is the capital of Great Britain, right? We usually we discuss some big questions. So you need, you know, to use some advanced English. So it's a good place, you know, to improve your speaking skills on advanced level. The second reason that I would give is the ability to debate and argue, right? So this place we discuss different questions, and when you know express your opinion, you have to you also provide some arguments. You know, why do you think this is true and this is false, right? So you always think how to structure your speech well and how to provide some good well thought arguments. So you will also develop the skills of necessary, you know, to argue and debate in life.
Do you have
uh,
certain rules that you should you should obey while attending this club? So, for example, you shouldn't interrupt
mhm.
your interlocutor or person, a speaker. Do you have these rules?
Well, those rules are informal, right? So I guess I just use common sense. Obviously, if someone is rude and tries to interrupt other people, I would, you know, just say like, hold on a second, just, you know, calm down. So the other thing that happens is that sometimes people like to shift to uh, another topic that is not related to what we're talking about. So again, if that happens, I usually say, all right, guys, like we are moving away from the subject. Let's go back.
It's like to
Um,
go off on a tangent. This is an idiom go on a tangent. It's like you speak, like suddenly speak on something unrelated to the topic.
Yes. So I try, to avoid that.
And so you
and
okay.
yeah, the third reason, I guess. The third reason why it's good, so it's obviously reading and literature. So we do read stuff. If you're interested in reading, you can read stuff in English, improve your reading skills, and just in general learn more about different pieces of literature.
Do you correct people's mistakes?
Well, only if I feel it's necessary. So usually no, but sometimes if it's like maybe some clear mistake that a person does over and over again, I might correct them, but really don't do that too often.
So can everyone participate, and are these meetings for free of charge, and where do they take place? Like room, online, or like offline in the open air?
Right. So the meetings are free. Anyone can join. We used to meet physically in the city, but because of the COVID situation, we moved online. So all of the meetings are online now. If you want to participate, there is a group on Facebook. I think, Mark, you'll be kind enough to provide a link to that group somewhere in the description to this video.
I've already provided it. I just linked in this video, like on YouTube, and besides, like in the short description, like on Facebook, there is also like the link to your group, to your community.
Yeah, so that's great. Thank you. So if anyone wants to join, you can find that a link in the description. So you will have to join the group, and then after joining, there are events on Facebook that I post. So for every meeting, I post an event, and then from that event, there is a join button, join meeting button, and you can join directly from Facebook and participate in the meeting. But you must be in the group. Facebook has this weird restriction. If you're not the member of the group, you won't be able to join the meeting. So you must join the group first.
So meetings are held on Facebook, yes? Not on Zoom? On Facebook.
Not on Zoom, yeah. I mean, Facebook provides free meetings, so it's a bit better in my opinion, because with Zoom you would, with free version of Zoom, you would have to restart the meeting every 40 minutes. It's a bit uncomfortable. So what else? The meetings take place on Sundays every 2 weeks, right? So once per 2 weeks on Sunday at 12 p.m. So
directly after partying, like guys.
Enough time to sleep.
Yes.
Enough time to sleep after the hard part.
They can catch up on sleep and then just wake up and join our meetings.
Exactly.
So let's switch gears. And as far as I know, your main job is a programmer. So what do you particularly do, and on what projects are you currently working?
Right. So the reading club is just something extra thing that I do in my life. My main occupation is IT, and I work in software development. So I am a software developer, and if you want to describe what I do in a short phrase, that would be full stack .NET developer. So I will try to deconstruct it. So full stack, it means that you can do both front end and back end part of the application. So I guess it also makes sense to explain what front end and back end means. So if we can take an example of Facebook website.
Mhm.
So you go to a website, Facebook, right, and you see some buttons, you see some images, you can click add to friends, put a like, all these kind of things you see on your screen. So this is called front end. It's called
Mhm.
front end because the user sees those things, right? It's a user interface. It's how they interact with the application.
Yeah.
And usually this is one part of the application. But what most people don't know, that apart from this part, there is another huge part on the server side. So Facebook
Mhm.
has their servers, and they obviously store some data. They store your information. They store all of the messages that you send, and obviously there must be some security. So for example, I cannot see your messages or you cannot see my messages. So there is some security and many other things that go on the server side. And this is called backend. So full stack developer is the one who does both of them. I also said .NET.
Programming language. Excuse me. What's your programming language?
Yes, so that's why I said full stack .NET developer. So my main area is .NET. .NET is like a platform by Microsoft to develop different types of applications. This is mostly for backend stuff, and the language in that environment is C#. So this is like my main area, and obviously for front end, you don't have much choice. You always use JavaScript because that's how websites work. They all use JavaScript, so it's JavaScript.
So on
Yeah,
what
I mean,
are you currently working?
yeah. So the projects are usually, well, a lot of them are websites, different types of websites. But sometimes, well, not sometimes, but also often, I just do some just backend stuff without any website. So it could be some integration software between different systems, like you need to send some data from one system to another, so these kind of weird things that go on the server side. So it could be some stuff like that.
Okay. So since my channel is about learning English, so could you give us 3 useful IT words or collocations, or maybe idioms, that would be helpful for English learners,
Mm-hmm.
and for programmers as well?
All right, great. So I guess the first thing, it's probably you heard about it. It's called a bug. So if the program doesn't work properly, right? If its functionality is broken, we call that a program has a bug, right? So this program is so hard to use because it has so many bugs, for example, right?
And
And
another meaning of the word bug, yeah? There are many meanings of the word bug, but probably this is not the primary meaning, yeah?
It's actually, that's why I want to give you a story why it's called a bug. So a bug is this small insect that we probably all know of. Beetle, I think it's a synonym. So why is it called a bug? So back in 1950s, when those first computers were created, so those first computers were huge. They took whole rooms were taken by those computers. And once one of those computers didn't work, and they didn't understand what was going on, they started, to look inside the computer, and they literally found a bug inside, like this insect, little animal. And from that point on, they started to call, like when some malfunction happens, they would say it's a bug. But that's where it came from, which is an interesting story.
But there is another meaning of the word bug. Probably if someone is bugging us, it means that it's like viewing us. And I see that some people are bugging us, but they are just viewers probably. But on the other hand, on the flip side, they're bugging us. So they have bugs, and if it's our private conversation and someone, another person can be bugging us, yes. So it's the third meaning of the word bug. Yeah?
Yeah, that's good to know. Well, I am talking about the IT and context of
yes,
and programming. And if we talk about this word bug, there is also another word to debug, right? Maybe you heard about it, like programmers say, I need to debug a program, and usually it means that you sort of need to examine the code. You sort of run the program slowly, kind of line by line, and just see where the problem is, where this bug is. So you debug a program.
Maybe the explanation would be to identify a bug.
Yes, it's to identify a bug. It's more or less a good explanation, but sometimes you debug a program just to understand how it works better. So it can be used in this context. But yeah, debug is that's the thing that every programmer does, and everyone knows.
I see.
So, all right. So what's the next one? So the next one is feature, right? So maybe you probably know this word, but in context of programming, we say that if the program has some rich functionality, it has some, let's say, on Facebook, let's say you can send messages to many people at once, right? So we can say Facebook has a feature to send multiple messages to multiple users, right? So it's like a sort of a piece of functionality that the program has. And usually when we, as programmers, when we create our programs, right, we create a list of these features that a program should have. So in context of Facebook, that would be like you can send messages to one user, send message to many users, you can add friends, and all of these things. So these all would be features. So
what about in everyday life? Because I think that a feature has a lot of other meanings. Yes.
You tell me. You're the English teacher here.
Well, I'm an English teacher with a feature, with many features. Yes. So I can talk, I can hear, I can read, I can listen, I can write. So features. Features can be like a facial features or features of character. Yes, probably in this context, everybody knows the word feature.
Yeah, so it's pretty much similar in context of programs, but it's just something that we use all the time, right? When we write our programs, there is always a word like what features this program should have. So it's a very commonly used word among programmers. Well, and the last one that I've got is what do you do when you write your code, you write a program, and then it's ready for to go live and for users to use it, right? So when that happens, we say we deploy it to production, right? So to deploy, it means to kind of place it somewhere, right? That's what word deploy means, to place it at some place. And we say production is because this is a production environment. So usually when we write programs, there are different environments. There is a test environment. So a test environment, that's where the program is being tested, right? So if I just created some program, but I'm not sure if it works good or bad, I usually give it to testers, but it would not be available for every user, right? It would be available only for people who will test this program. And once they test this program, it's good, it works fine. Only then we release it. So we deploy the program to production. And again, that's a thing that is used very, very often if you're a programmer, to deploy a program.
Deploy a program can be deploy a system, I heard. Yes,
yes.
Deploy some troops.
Deployment, it's a noun. It's a deployment. Yeah, and it's a good that you mentioned in military. This word is pretty common. Right?
Yes,
because the troops are deployed.
Association with militaries, with some ships, with the troops. Yeah. And the programmers also took this word.
I'm not sure where it came from. Well,
So maybe primarily from programmers could be.
Well, I'm not sure. I guess military, the word existed probably before programming came
No,
into being.
definitely.
But I mean, the word deploy basically, like, it means to place it, right? To place something at some place. And I guess that's why it's used, because you place your program in the production, in the place where real users can use it and access it. And so I guess that's why.
I hope our big brother don't deploy the troops like in our country. You know what I mean? Yes. The situation is pretty intense nowadays. Yeah. If we talk about deployment in
I think the troops are already deployed.
Not in. Well, yes, you are right, but you know what I mean, like in some other areas in our country.
Yeah.
Okay. So such a question. Aren't you afraid that everything will be automated in the future and we won't need so many programmers anymore?
Yeah, that's a question that is brought up pretty often. But the first thing is that I don't think that programmers are the ones at risk. So there is just so much stuff to automate left in this world. And even if you automate something, there is still you will still need to improve it. Like, if many companies automated their businesses, they would still compete with each other whose automation sort of works better. So we would have work for programmers for at least a couple of decades. I'm pretty sure about it. Well, the other thing is the other jobs, right? The other careers. That might be a problem. Like, we already have, for example, self-driving cars, right? So that technology already exists, and maybe in future we won't need, bus drivers, taxi drivers, and all of these kind of things, right? If you, for example, move your store into online, you create a website and you just sell your stuff on the internet, then you will not need people who, sit physically in the store and sell your products, right? So these people might suffer. So it's rather, the question of, how this automation, right, that is a very big thing now, how other people can benefit from it, right? So that's, I guess, the main, one of the big issues of 21st century, how we can distribute this automation benefit, not only in the hands of these big companies who do it, but also among the society. So that's my opinion.
Probably we'll need some professions that will be related to creativity more, some creative professions, just not to design, to develop something. Because still there are, like you said, that there are many areas that might be automated and must be automated. And I still looking for some AI, artificial intelligence, or robots to simplify my life. Yes, and still looking for. Still, I have some gaps. Still, I don't like something. Yes, for example, okay, I bought an AI and vacuum cleaner, but still doesn't clean all the spots. So corners are left without cleaning, with the dust. Maybe to remove the dust from these corners, maybe still we need to make up to create another AI. So I hope that in the future my apartment is full of this AI, or it will be like the Internet of Things, not just of software, but hardware as well.
Right, and that's a good thing, right? Because you said, like, you have a vacuum cleaner, AI vacuum cleaner. That's a good thing, because how many people like just to vacuum clean their apartment? It's such a boring and useless task. So the things that we usually automate are just some manual work that, a human being would not benefit from this kind of work. They would not develop and improve themselves anyway. So automation is a good thing, right? The problem is, how we make sure that it's kind of all the society benefits from it, right? Not just this one big company who, automated its business and then they laid off all its personnel. So now people are without jobs. So we need to somehow, probably come up with some solutions. Maybe, you would pay some more taxes, right? If you moved your business to automation, maybe you pay more taxes. So then those money can somehow be distributed among people. So I think that's the main challenge, is how we make sure that out of everyone benefits from this automation.
Maybe. It's hard to predict what will happen because money is digitalized and we'll have a digital money. I don't almost have cash, so all students pay me in cash. They are like gods, so please don't leave me. Please give me cash because I don't have cash. All the money is digital.
Yeah.
And do you think that one day after vaccination, everyone will come back to their offices? Do you think that you personally or your colleagues at work will come back to the offices, like your IT specialists? And, what do you think about it, all of it in general?
Well, you kind of already can. So some of our employees, at the company where I work, the office is open and you can go there. There are certain restrictions, like there is still, you cannot just, everyone cannot go at the same time to the office, but if you can go. Will we come back to this, as you said, normal life? I think, to some extent, yes, but obviously there are a lot of changes that will probably stick after this whole COVID thing ends. So already some big companies like Facebook, Twitter, and even my company, they introduced this thing that you can work remotely as much as you want. So even, if COVID ends, I can stay at home as much as you want. So it's fine. It's not a problem. And my company, for example, now they started to hire people not only, we have an office in Ivano-Frankivsk, but we hire people also, from other places in Ukraine, even in the cities where we don't have offices, because, a person can just work from their computer. What's the big deal if they know how to do their work well? So it's okay, and that's a practice that is common, throughout many, companies in the world. So I think there will be this change that maybe you can work for some even American or European company and just live in Ukraine. I think that's something that might come out in future. We'll see. So I think this remote work will obviously stay, at least to some degree.
I don't think that so many people will have a desire to go to the office and to work in the office, but who knows, maybe some people have kids at home yet, and kids are really annoying and you can't focus at home maybe, but
yes.
But they might have the lack of time. They will just waste a lot of time commuting, getting to work, and there is a lack of energy. So you come to work and you are can be sweating, or you have hurried up, yes, and luckily you managed to get to your workplace, but then you are talking about these traffic jams that you stuck, you troubled, and you faced, and well, it's not the best idea to commute.
Yeah, I mean, if you live in a big city, like, New York, I don't know, Los Angeles, stuff like that, obviously commuting is a huge problem. We live in, in Ivano-Frankivsk. It's not very big city, so commuting is easier here, but obviously you can still, benefit a lot from commuting.
Mhm. And besides all these offices, like I can talk about Kiev because like I have some students from Kiev and they are
Mm,
programmers, and they told me that they used to work in business centers, but this for this business centers they paid a lot of money, like
mm,
in CEOs, and then CEOs like thought, why could we pay a lot of money to these business centers and to rent the rooms all the time?
mm,
Productivity is only getting higher and higher. Of course, there
mm,
are some who are really fond of office work, and they're afraid that there will be no teamwork, or just they will not be able to give some orders to them, and so on and so forth. But
mm.
still, there are more benefits than drawbacks, than cons.
Well, like at my company, many people, well, let's say some people at least, they actually enjoy work from the office, not from home. So it's really important for them to go to the office because they say, it's better, the environment, the working environment is better. So at home, I might have a kid, a dog, and there are always some distractions. So, if you work from home, you need to sort of make your home your working space. So you need to change your apartment maybe in some way, maybe provide a separate room where you can work being undistracted, or maybe, some other solutions. So it's not easy for everyone.
Some other solutions might be to buy an AI robot who will take care of those kids. Yes.
Hmm. Maybe.
Somewhere, somewhere to go to Boston, Massachusetts, and to purchase that,
Yeah, yeah.
like what I'm saying, or that dog. Uh,
I think those robots might kill the kids. Better not mess with Boston Boston robots,
it
because
depends.
I think they developed these military robots, if I'm not mistaken. And this Boston, there are some military.
Well, money talks. It depends on your pockets.
Mm,
And well, actually mentioned, I wanted to ask you about pros and cons of commuting and telecommuting,
mhm,
working remotely. You actually just answered this question, yes. And well, there are some benefits actually in telecommuting, in both telecommuting, that is working remotely, and
mhm.
commuting is getting to work. And
Yeah, I mean,
yes, yes.
yeah, I mean, like we can kind of elaborate on that topic. So obviously, working from home, telecommuting, it has a lot of pluses. Like you don't have to commute. You do everything from home, so you save some time. So that's probably reason number one why it's so good. Reason number two is flexibility. So as I said, my company hires people from around Ukraine and maybe even around the world. So really, you can go somewhere, travel, and still work. I can go somewhere to Europe, for example, on a travel trip, and still work from there. Actually, some of my colleagues already do that. So that's already that's plus of commuting. But nevertheless, there are some pluses of real work in the office. So one of the main benefits is improved communication. So if you work in a team, right, there are many people that work with you, and you always need to communicate. Work on some specific problems. It's definitely better to work in the office because you see the person. You can just talk to them directly. You don't need to go to this different chats or video calls. So everything is solved pretty quickly. So you take some example. Like I know that Google, for example, they as far as I know, they don't plan to allow their employees to work remotely after the pandemic. And I think it might be because Google is such a collaborative place where people have to talk to each other all the time. So communication is very important, and maybe that's why they still prefer to work physically. companies like, I don't know, SpaceX that they develop rockets. I have no idea how these people could really work remotely from around the world. They obviously need to be at the place, see that rocket, and communicate very tightly all the time. So it kind of depends. There are pluses and minuses, of course, but you will have a choice at least, right? It's good that now we have a choice, so you can work for a company that allows this remote work, and maybe work independently, not engage in teamwork that much, or maybe you can get employed by some other company where teamwork is very important, but you will have a chance to work at some cooler project or something like that. So at least you will have you have a choice, and that's good.
I heard that some statistics that they say that 70% of IT companies will not come back to normal life after the pandemic. They will still keep on working remotely. Of course, such giants as Google and SpaceX, they will not come back to. They will come back to their normal life. It's for them. It's just not a big deal, to pay some extra money for the office, or they can just acquire all this facility. But those startups and ventures, yes, that are getting by, that are just developing for them, it's just maybe the way out to telecommute, to telework, and to work remotely.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I think there will be a lot of mixed modes. I think a lot of companies, will practice like both, remote and physical work. You might rent a small office for a group of people that need to communicate, maybe work on some tight project, and then other people might work remotely, right? So I think we will see this kind of a mixed mode in the future. A lot of companies will adopt this mode of work.
So let's switch gears again, and I know you are a big traveler. So how many countries did you visit, and what countries were you impressed by?
So I think I visited around 10 countries. The countries if just real quick, the countries I was most impressed by, that would be the United States. It's a big, diverse country. Very different from Europe. So if you been only to Europe and then go to the United States, it's really something new. They have these huge cities like New York with tall skyscrapers, and that's a pretty magnificent view. If you've never seen it, you see it for the first time in your life. It looks really, really impressive. And they also have some beautiful nature. They have beautiful national parks like the Grand Canyon, for example. So a lot of things to explore in this country. Number 2 in my list would probably be Italy. So I liked Italy very much. So it's also beautiful nature, very nice climate, always warm, always hot, so good for traveling. And also why Italy impresses me so much, I like history myself, and Italy has a big historical heritage. So the Roman Empire was there, so you would find some beautiful places like Colosseum, for example, built 2000 years ago. And you would go to Florence. Florence is the place of Renaissance, very beautiful art and architecture there. And obviously Venice, right? Venice is something unique. You would not see it anywhere in the world. It's a city built on water, so very impressive. So Italy, definitely a very nice place to travel. And number 3, I think that would be France. Even though I didn't travel around the country. I went to Paris, to one city, but I was very impressed in Paris, by the city. I think it's very gorgeous. Everything is so magnificent. All of these buildings and art you see, so you kind of really experience this greatness and power of France through the ages. Liked it very much. So I would probably put France on this list just because of Paris.
So the United States number 1, Italy number 2, and France number 3. Correct?
Yes, I would say so.
And the next question is, what 3 countries would you like to visit in the future?
So I've been to Europe and the United States so far, mostly. But what I would really like to explore is the other part of the globe. So I would like to go to Asia, and the country that probably for me is most interesting is China. And China, because it's the biggest country in Asia, and again I said that I like history, and China was a very impressive and important civilization during all of the history of humankind. So there are a lot of interesting places to explore, like the Beijing, the Great Wall of China, the Forbidden Palace, and these kind of things. So
I would like to make one more advertisement for our viewers that I also have 3 videos like on my channel. You can just watch about like some people had experience working and traveling in China. Mainly they were English teachers in China. This is John Durham and one more girl, Christina Kowal, and she was talking about China, about her experience in kindergarten. You can just look through this in among my videos. And John Durham lived in China, in a Russian city. So a lot of guys. There are 2 cities in China that have the population of Russians, and this part of China used to be the part of Russia. So pretty interesting, and pretty interesting habits. You can just have a good time watching it, and getting to know a lot about their etiquette, about their habits, about spitting like on the floor and pushing in the subway. Pretty interesting, I would say.
Yeah, I gotta check out those videos too.
And probably you heard that they have a WeChat. So mostly like they communicate through WeChat, and you can just even send some money. I can send money from WeChat to WeChat. Once I had such a fun situation like on WeChat, because I had some classes with some guys from China, and suddenly WeChat stopped functioning, and this account was suspended, and I couldn't even recover that. But I didn't say anything bad like on WeChat. They just decided to close my account, and that's it.
The authority didn't like you, right? The authority of China.
Probably I didn't share any income with them. Like I got the money, and they said, "Oh, what's it? It's an English class. Come on, like let's shut it down." Yes.
Yeah.
So China, and what else? What other countries?
The number 2 would be Australia. So Australia, it's a unique place in the world. We have usually we say West and East. And Australia, what the hell is Australia? It's neither West nor East. So it's a completely different place. And matter of fact, it was discovered by Europeans only in 18th century. and there is a very rich animal life. So you would see, different plants and animals that you won't see anywhere else on the globe. So it's, interesting to see this kind of completely different world. So Australia would be number 2. And number 3 would be Tanzania. So Tanzania, it's in Africa. Why Tanzania? It's because I would like to, visit Africa and see this safari, Mount Kilimanjaro, and all of these interesting exotic animals like zebras, lions, and all of this kind of things. So that would be very interesting for me. And Tanzania is probably the best place in Africa when we're talking about safari and all of this.
I heard that this is also the best place to visit during the quarantine, because
Tanzania.
Yes. I heard from some bloggers on YouTube, like one of the countries. So
why is that?
Well, I didn't stick. I didn't try to go so deeply into details, but it's definitely in comparison with Thailand that you have to make so many documents, like IDs and those tests from COVID to go to Thailand. It's definitely not a country, Thailand. And besides, it was a German colony, by the way, Tanzania, as far as I know.
But they speak English, right?
Well,
or maybe, German. I think English is the.
Maybe the part was German. I heard that it was a German colony in most cases. German.
Yeah, maybe. I think. Well, don't know for sure.
We need to check that information. But
some of my friends climbed Mount Kilimanjaro actually from work. So it was, I think, 2 years ago. So they really liked it, and they said that they spent like $3,000 just to pay like for the whole trip and for the guides, because they needed to hire people who can guide you to the top of the mountain. And I think it was somewhere around $3,000, but they really liked it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, definitely. So yeah, Tanzania. I just checked this information on Google. Tanzania is a German colony. Maybe it's like a part of it was British. I'm not sure, but in most cases, it's.
Yeah,
German.
I mean British. Once they won World War II, they probably took it.
Yeah, or at least beat a piece.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what 3 countries would you never visit in your life?
Yeah. So that I think it's hard to say that there are countries that I would never ever visit. Right. Maybe at some point in my life I could visit any country. Who knows? But for the time being, at least in near future, I think number 1 would be Russia. So Russia for the obvious political issues between Ukraine and Russia. So that's not a good place to go.
And no country, yeah.
Yes, for the time being, it's a no country. Right, and number 2, I have Somalia.
Oh, Somalia.
Somalia, I think, yeah, or Somalis.
Somalia, yes, Somalia, yeah. So it's like Somaliland and the Puntland, and
the adjective is Somali. Okay, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So
Somalia or Somalia, it's all about British and American already. It was an Italian colony already. Yes.
It's near Ethiopia. Yeah.
I was lucky to meet a Somalian, and hopefully I arranged an interview with him. But he just not, maybe it's not a good word, like ghosted me. Yes. Or he bailed on me, disappeared. Yeah.
What do you mean, like?
I just made an image even a thumbnail with us, and we were ready to make an interview together. And we met actually in Pakistan at the airport. I got acquainted with him. Like he was a journalist, and he told me like terrible stories about this country, that his best friend was shot, was killed, and 2 weeks ago from that time. And I even just remember that I called my acquaintances from university to make a deal, so in order him to enter one of our universities, because he wanted even to go to ID. And he said that he is sick and tired of that life in Somalia.
And he came. He came to.
Well, no, he bailed on me again. He was even crying, and I believe him. But definitely, there could be even worse countries than Somalia, and it's probably southern Sudan.
Yeah.
Maybe you know this Russian blogger Lyado, the blog, and he went to this Sudan, and it was these guys live like in the Stone Age. It's for sure. Maybe when Somalia had some, because it was a former Italian colony, and Mogadishu was a kind of pearl, and the nice architecture, especially in the 1960s. And Mogadishu was one of the best and most beautiful cities in the world, even. And it turned into a ruin because of these permanent wars. But we talk about this southern Sudan, so it's a total disaster.
Yeah, well, don't know much about Sudan, but Somalia, I just know that it's considered to be a very dangerous country. So that's probably why I don't consider it now, because it's probably too dangerous to go there.
So Russia,
Somalia. Well, and I guess number 3 would probably be Syria. So I was I think, it's either Syria or North Korea. So I don't know, I'm not sure. So Syria is probably because, well, the war there, it's very dangerous. But in general, the country is interesting. There are a lot of, interesting places. What's the capital? I forgot. Damascus, yes?
Damascus is pretty safe nowadays. It's under this authorities, Assad, like a very cruel leader. But if we talk about Aleppo, of course, it's dangerous. Definitely. Yeah. A nice choice, I would say.
Yeah, and maybe North Korea, like it was probably kind of also.
Probably, I would rather go to Syria than to North Korea, because it's too annoying for I watched a lot of vlogs about this unbelievable country, or how I cannot name it as a country. It's just maybe like a concentration camp. Like it's worse than the worst times of the former USSR. I can't even imagine how people can live in this walls, iron walls,
And it's quite hard to get there. Like you can't just go there.
Yes, you need to have a job actually, and you have to. And in this case, you can get a working visa, and every single step, you can face some KGB agents who will just follow you and ask you about something, or just not ask you, and probably more KGB agents than people there.
For every man, there is a KGB agent assigned.
The same in Russia nowadays, because I had some students that told me that when they went to Russia and they worked there, they've been working there for many years. And they told me that actually 3 persons per one could be already agents. It's pretty sad, pretty sad. Of course, it can be exaggeration, but it might be not. it depends on the area where you
Mm.
are. Yes. And if to talk about electro dancing, why did you decide to do electro dancing? You are also a
Yeah,
dancer.
so one of the hobbies that I had in my life was, I would say, even passions, was dancing. So that was a long time ago when I started in university. It all started from my mom. She just, told me that I have to, go do some dancing,
Mhm.
because that's a good thing to do. And I remember she recommended me, well, she brought me to some ballroom dancing classes. And I was there maybe for three months or something, and then I realized that that's kind of not exactly what I want to do. Like I liked more energetic, those street dancing, so something like hip hop, break dance, this kind of things. But I remember somewhere on internet I found that there was some guy who taught this tectonic. I don't know, maybe you heard that
Yeah.
word. Like it was quite popular back in the day. So that's like the old name of electro dance. And I went there, started to practice this dancing, and with time I realized that I really like it, and I practiced a lot. That was a very it took a lot of my time at that time, and I even grew to a level when I organized competitions in our city myself,
Hmm.
and even traveled around Ukraine, visited different competitions myself. So that was a big important thing in my life. But uh, later, my life changed a little bit. I went to Poland. I lived in Poland for some time, and I found a work there. And in Poland, I didn't find some electro dance, some dance classes. I didn't really have time for that, and it's kind of went down, all of this dancing thing. So now sometimes can just dance for fun. So there's some concert in our city. I might, well, not now because of COVID, but before we had this physical outdoors events. I like just to come there and dance, enjoy myself. Sometimes I dance at home, but not professionally as I did before, unfortunately.
And what benefits did electro dance bring you? Why electro dance?
Well, as I said, while electro dance, it was kind of just a chance, like a random accident, I would say. Like I found some advertisement on internet that there is some guy who teaches it, and I'm like, well, like that's a nice dance. Why not? Let's try it, and so we went. But it was not only electro dance. Like later I practiced other styles. So I danced, for example, hip hop as well, and house. So I've kind of tried to be diverse in terms of
Rap?
in terms of dance.
What about rap? Rap and hip hop, is it the same, like in terms of
Well, rap is music. Rap is music. Hip hop is basically like, it's a
they
broad
still?
term. It's like the whole culture.
But that's maybe I was badly informed, because like rap is when they explained to me that rap is just that you use some swear words. It's just like rap, and hip hop it's not. It's without swear words. It's just
All
like
right. Are we talking about music or dancing?
if we talk about music, of course.
Uh-huh.
But is there such a style of dancing as rap? Like, because a lot of
No,
rappers.
not the one I'm
Uh,
familiar with.
uh,
Well, basically, hip hop is often used as a broad term for everything, right? So,
uh,
a rapper singer would be part of this hip hop culture. A break
mhm.
dancer would also be a part of this hip hop culture. Hip hop dancer obviously also is a part of this culture. Some guys who paint graffiti of the walls, it's also considered to be part of this hip hop culture. So hip hop usually it's often referred as like the whole culture consisting of many different elements.
But in terms of
Mm.
music, they are different.
Well, in terms of music, when people say hip hop, I think usually it implies that there is more like purely musical elements. So it's not just person, speaking, rapping all the time. There will be some melody, maybe a bit more complicated melody. And when, hip hop dancing, or when people dance hip hop, very often there are no words at all. So there is just some kind of a beat, music beat, and you just dance to that beat, and that would be, also considered hip hop music.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a bit broad term, and it's hard to, put some specific restrictions on what it means. What benefits? One thing that I guess I became more, open and sociable, because when I dance, you need to interact with many people, travel a lot. So maybe it helped me, to develop some, extrovert skills, if you will.
Did you have
sociable skills.
Did you have your dancing queen when you danced? A partner?
Well, that was not a partner dancing, right? It's just you dance alone. Like we dance many times, on the street, even in Ivano-Frankivsk. I remember the guys would just take like a piece of some kind of rubber or stuff like that. We would just put it on the street, bring some music, bring some loudspeakers, turn on the music, and we would just dance all together. I remember people came around and just watched us, and it was really fun.
Yeah. Is it dangerous to break any balls? Is it dangerous? Can you hurt yourself? Have you ever hurt yourself?
That's why we had this kind of piece of I don't know how to call it, like sort of like a fabric, or I don't know, like we put like a carpet made from rubber. I don't know how what's the name of it in English.
So you
like
have some
rubber.
some special gear for you. You have some facilities and special gear for you.
Yeah, well, let's say so. Like, but I mean, why would you hurt yourself? You just dance. That's it's called street dancing, like hip hop, electro dance. They're considered to be street dancing because very often people do it on the street.
What about break? What about break?
Break dance as well. Yeah, for sure.
Well, so while break dancing, you can hurt yourself.
Yes, that's why, again, you usually bring the floor with you, like this thing you put on the ground, so you can do all of these moves not directly on the cement, but on this protected layer, so you can do different things there. And matter of fact, you can still see those guys. Well, again, not while we're in this COVID mode, but before that, if you walk in our city, sometimes you would see some guys dancing. So it's still there. Yeah, and I guess it also helped me to be in good shape, good physical shape when I dance, because obviously a lot of exercising. So it's good for health too, I think.
Interesting. Okay, Mykhailo, so the last question for you. Name 3 things people should do to get ahead, to be successful in their lives, and to be so successful as you are as well.
Well, if you consider myself particularly successful person, then
why not? Like,
all right, thank you.
Personality.
So number 1 would be time management, right? So I think especially in the 21st century, time is the most precious resource. So I think it's much more valuable than money or wealth, because time is wealth. So you need to learn how to manage your time properly, how to spend it on important things and don't spend it on things that just eat and kill your time. So think there are many different techniques on time management. I mean, if you just Google time management, you would find a lot of articles, a lot of videos that teach that. But in general, it's really important to understand how you spend your time and on what things you spend your time. If you can manage your time properly, it will be easier for you, to move and achieve some goals. So,
can I add something like according to time management? By the way, I heard the speech of one Kazakh billionaire about Murgulan Listenbai, and he said he was talking about time management, and he said that it's the most hated word for him, time management, because actually you cannot manage your time, because time is not manageable resource. Time is flowing, time flows and flows. You cannot return the time, you cannot squeeze the time, expand the time, you cannot do those things with the time. So, but actually a good point what he said is that you can manage your energy within the time. You can manage your energy. So our task is not to manage our time, but to manage our energy, because till the end of your life you will still have the time, but you might not have energy when you are an elderly person.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with that statement. I mean, obviously, we cannot manage the time itself. We cannot shape it, warp it, but we can use it more effectively. That's what we can, because a lot of people, they want to achieve things in their lives, and they have some chaos. They don't know how to plan. They don't know how to, to focus on one thing at the time. They might, try to do everything at once. Or they, might spend hours on social media like Instagram and Facebook, and not even realize how much time they waste there. So by time management, obviously, I mean use your time effectively. That's what I mean.
I suspect 97% of people cannot manage their time effectively.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it's. Not many people do. Not many people think about it, right? Like the first thing is even start to think about. Start to just like I don't know, have some diary and just think like how much time, for example, I spent doing this, doing that, and you will see that maybe there are certain things that eat so much of your time that you can just maybe remove or do something else instead, and then be more productive in your life. So.
Because taking actions is not an easy thing, like that's why people are trying to avoid it, or avoid like to postpone all these important things. Yes, well, we can accept this time management.
So, and I guess the second thing, it kind of comes out from this time management. It's like it's planning, right? You need to plan. So, in order, to progress and develop and become better at something that you do, you need to have a plan how to do it. So for example, me myself, every day I go to bed, I know more or less exactly how my next day will go. I know that I will wake up, for example, like at 7:30. I will spend 20 minutes meditating, then I will have a breakfast, I will work for maybe, for 8 hours. Then at 6, let's say, I finish my work, then I do 1 hour of sports. And then after that, in the evening, for example, I spend 2 hours reading or something like that. So you have to plan your day, you have to plan your week. So, you need to set some goals that you want to achieve. So a good strategy is, to set some goals for a week on a weekly basis. Like, let's say you learn English, you can set a goal. Like this week, I have to learn 50 new words or 100 new words in English. That's my goal for this week. Another goal might be I need to understand past perfect, for example, right? Grammar of past perfect. Like, this is my goal for the week, to understand how it works and to know how to use it properly. So set some goals that you know how to achieve. And it can be not only on a weekly basis, it can be on a yearly basis. So I myself set goals often for weeks, and also long-term goals for years. So for example, like this year, you have to improve your English like from intermediate to upper intermediate level. Or this year, you need to read 5 books that you choose, let's say, or you know, something else that you can, you know, measure. So plan and set goals.
I have the question about the procedure of making these goals, because it's like it's easy to say, like, shall we make a to-do list, or is it an effective way when, for example, if I write for myself to do this, to meditate, to work out, to learn the past perfect, to eat, to drink, etc., etc. So I have a to-do list for a day. Then in the morning, I look it up. I say, "Oh my goodness, 10 things to do." I would rather go to bed and I would watch my favorite cartoon or a sitcom rather than do this awful things I don't want. So how to manage this? If we touch
Yeah,
upon-
well, that's my third point, by the way. I'll go to it in a moment. In a moment, right? In a moment. But another thing to remember with this planning and time management: don't plan everything, right? Don't plan 100% of your time, because if you do that, you will just go crazy, right? You cannot, you know, do everything. You cannot plan your every single move. So I think, you know, a general rule that people recommend is to plan maybe 60% of your day or something like that, and then leave other 40% for some unexpected things, right? Someone calls you and says, wow, like there is some big problem, we have to, you know, work on it. So you always have some reserved time for other things. And speaking of motivation, well, so this is my third point, and it's have a passion for what you do and what you want to achieve in life. So an example with English, right? If you learn English just because people say English is important, and people say that if you get this English skills, you will have this five-figure salary, you know, and all these kind of things. So that's not a way to motivate yourself. That's if you only have this kind of motivation, you will not get that very far. What you need to develop is a passion for what you do, right? You need to love what you do. So if you talk, you know, when we talk about English, try to really, so to speak, fall in love in English, right? Try to speak English not only these 3 hours per week when you visit Mark's courses, right? Mark's lessons, right? Try to practice English outside, right? Find some friends that also learn English, and maybe just start speaking English with those friends all the time. Why not? You both want to learn English, just switch to English and you know, practice English all the time. So for example, me and my girlfriend, we speak English maybe, you know, 50% of my time, of our time together, we speak only English, for example. Watch movies in English, right? Read books in English. So just really like kind of you know, put yourself in this world, and you know, try to really like and enjoy what you do and have this passion. And if you can have it, if you can develop it, then it will be much easier, you know, for you, you know, to get up in the morning and do the necessary things that you need to do.
So let's sum up. Like the first thing was time management. Yes. The second thing was
planning.
And the third one is motivation.
Passion for what you do.
Passion.
Have a passion for what you do.
Okay.
Time, planning, passion. Yeah.
It's was really a really amazing interview with you. I got a lot of new things, yes, and I started thinking of planning, managing my time properly, and planning my everything that what I do. Yes, and again, really an awesome source interview. And thanks a lot, Mykhailo.
Mm.
Stay safe and keep the ball rolling.
Mm.
That you are such a like a versatile personality, and you are motivated enough, I think, to learn English and to develop in your IT sector, in your traveling, in your electro dancing. Yes, don't give
Mm.
up and pull the trigger, and then
Mm.
we'll be all right. Yes.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. It was an honor, to be in your interview. So thanks for inviting me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thanks for your attention. Don't forget to subscribe and give a like to this interview. Thumb up
Hmm.
if you liked it. So take care and bye bye.
Goodbye.